We are here at the Food Bank greenhouse, and you're about ready to meet somebody pretty special, someone the community has really come to love. So here we are with Luis Reyes. Now Luis works at the food bank here and is our chief agronomist. In fact, you're our only agronomist, Luis. But I did want to talk a bit here about the green walls, which is what you're standing in front of here. We've got some there and we've got some over there. So can you just tell me how these work?
Hi, Glenn. Of course, this kind of pocket wall is what you really is the same as the one that you use to put your remote control or your shoes next to your door. Yeah. But this is made of felt. So it's super breathable and it's super allow the water to flow through it. So what we do is to fill these pockets with a little bit of soil or a little bit of clay pebbles, and we do our growing here. The thing is, like with one of these walls, you use the same space that you use for 10 or 20 plants, but you have 100 plants in the same space, really, because you go vertical.
So when this program airs on Rogers TV, we'll be right in the middle of the food drive, the Curb Hunger food drive. And what the food bank is doing is that we're giving out a number of these free of charge to people so they can grow in their own backyards or put in the side of their garage or fence or whatever. But we're asking that if they do that, that they the food that they grow, they give towards local depots to help food insecure families or bring it to the food bank. But you're going to have to teach people how to use all that when they come in, Luis. But these are remarkable things. I mean, I only learned about them myself a short while ago, but they have huge output. And they're really great because they're felt, right? They retain the water and everything. That's really good. Yeah, that's great. Luis, that was a great bit of surprise I had there the other day coming into the greenhouse and seeing you there back with the green walls. The green walls are so fascinating to me because I didn't know anything about them. And they have so much potential. And I came away from that thinking, that's just the way it was with you. I didn't know anything about you until I met you there that one day before the greenhouse was even built. And but I just saw so much potential in you, and you've done so much for us. Can you just talk to us a bit? You've become kind of something of a community treasure to a lot of people because you know so much about greenhouses. And that's something we don't have a lot of here in London. There are some, but not too many. So how did you get started in greenhouses? Is it back in Chile, I take it, was it?
Yes, it was back in Chile where we trained with my partner as an agronomist, both of us. And actually my first job for going out of college, I worked in a nursery for blueberries. That was a big operation of blueberries in Chile. Probably, I'm going to say 20 acres, so 10 hectares or something like that under plastic. So just to go from one side of the greenhouse to the other one side of the greenhouse, it takes the whole day. So it's a thing. So that's pretty much 20 years ago. Next things that we did after that was working in our organic program for helping patients in Chile. So, and in that one, we had to design another greenhouse, like it was in a slope of a mountain. So it was the land that is most accessible to peasants. So it's the cheapest land in a mountain. But to build a greenhouse in that condition is something else. And after that, we moved to Newfoundland. To work in greenhouse there. So there we spent another 5 or 7 years working in greenhouses there when we finally moved to London. Yeah. And that was probably 3-4 years ago. And I was looking for work myself into urban agriculture. It was something that it was dear to me and I want to explore. So I reached out to pretty much all of the institution in London. There are a few that are working in urban agriculture, in nature projects and stuff like that. And that's how I realized that the food bank was doing this project about the greenhouse. And in my experience, I have seen other greenhouse projects or community gardens or other agriculture projects, community driven, that don't really work because don't have a strong support of the community, really, of the local officials. And as soon as you go into a roadblock from the perspective of having like a permit that you need, and that permit is going to take so much effort to put into, like the community really disband. And I was aware of, I was a little bit preoccupied, like something like that could happen with the food bank project. And that's when I meet you and John Fleming, and I saw how advanced were your project in that moment, like 2 years ago. And I said, like, this is a super nice greenhouse, but uh, and I asked you, like, do you know what it takes to run a greenhouse like that? And that's when we have that conversation of what really means to run a greenhouse in the city. And I realized, like, you needed the help.
Yeah, what was funny about that was John Fleming had been the head of planning for the City of London, and he knew that I was trying to get this greenhouse thing going. But I remember Luis, Leuna, the construction trades union, they came in, they helped us put up the steel girders for it, and there were other companies that graded the ground. This was all volunteer, all these people that did it. But I remember then you and John and I came out on a Saturday, and we had to put the two plastic coverings over the greenhouse, and it was a really windy day. And I'll always remember being up on top of the thing, and the thing had flipped over, but it was you and your experience that helped us to get it all put together that day. But since then, which was 2 years ago, that greenhouse is the one that you're in right now has just thrived. So, Luis, now that you've got the plants and everything all up and growing, can you tell us exactly what you grow in there? It's food that food bank clients would look for, but what do you grow?
Um, so to make the better use of the greenhouse, we decided to have a super diverse greenhouse. So it is the best thing to in the point of production. Like if you want to produce the most amount of yield, you go for one species of plant and you optimize all the conditions for one species of plant. Yeah. Right here at the food bank, we have, I'm going to say 10 different varieties of tomato, 10 different varieties of leafy greens, more than 10 different herbs running right now. And we do even grow roots like beets and radishes. And we're growing, we did have last week a nice crop of carrots, small carrots like growing inside the greenhouse. You just taste it out of the ground and they are going to the plate in the front, like probably in the same day. And that's so sweet when we taste it like this because it's just harvest. That is something of a next level product. Yeah. So other than that, in this greenhouse, we also do production of strawberries. The tomatoes, the eggplants. So it's a variety. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something else. Like we do some specialty stuff like the porcelain, the Malabar spinach, some of the Asian variety of greens that the names are hard to pronounce. Yeah. So right now here, easily 50 different varieties of different stuff growing all year round.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a heated greenhouse, and I was there with you when you put those special lights in there and everything, and they kind of trick the plants into thinking that it's okay to grow at this particular time. So it's been fascinating to watch how you do it. And Luis, I know that you also have helped other groups in the city as well since you started at the food bank. A number of them who are looking at perhaps growing agencies and others, or there's groups like growing chefs and others who've been partnering with you to help it in the schools, so on and so forth. But so this greenhouse just isn't about people coming in and volunteering and helping out. You've actually taken the knowledge, which is actually, I think, the main thing that's in that greenhouse right now is your knowledge, because it's so vast about these things. But you've taken that out into the community and helped them to do better. In the last year, though, it was a year ago, we started giving out free greenhouses. Do you remember that to churches? There were many churches that during the pandemic, because they had a good volunteer base and because they owned the land, they wondered, could they have greenhouses? And they would grow that food. And then the food that they grew there on site at the various churches, so there was 20 of them or so, they grew the food there, and then they took them to depots, food bank depots in their area, or they would bring the food to the food bank. But I know for a lot of them, Luis, they'd never done anything like this before, and they really had to come to you and seek your help. How hard was it for you to help get them up and running?
Um, it's not that hard, Glenn. There is community gardeners around everywhere in the city.
Yeah.
But to present them, a greenhouse is another game. Like to grow outside in your garden is one thing, and to do this forced production in the greenhouse that you can start earlier and you can finish later in the season, and to teach how to correctly ventilate it, irrigate it, and to even to put the plants into your containers in your pots. All of that is some stuff that they're not used to really. Like we're used to open the ground, to put more compost. And my background is in nursery production, so for me doing the container gardening really is my strong suit. And I can see that knowledge being delivered to these other partners that we are working right now. And I must say that it feels super nice to be appreciated like that in your own field.
Yeah. And Luis, you just became something special a couple of weeks ago. What was that? We were also happy and proud of you and your family. What happened there?
So a couple of weeks ago was the ceremony of my citizenship, of Canadian citizenship. And today in the morning, like at 8 in the morning, like the first thing that I do, I open my mail and I saw the certificate. Yeah. So now I can travel around the world and come back to Canada without any problem. Yeah. I'm a little late for the voting stuff. Like one day before it will be perfectly, but that's okay. We will go for the next one. Yeah. So now to become a Canadian in the whole ride, and you see the whole history of Canada and how the whole government system really put forward this idea of volunteering as a part of making community glue and community together. For me, takes another level of seriousness. Yeah. Now that I'm part of this Team Canada, it really takes another meaning.
Yeah, and it gives meaning to us as well, Luis, because I mean, you've come to us and you've helped the food bank to get to another level. I remember when I first announced, it was in a media interview, that we were going to have a greenhouse. I had no idea what I was talking about. I just knew that the public was wanting us to do more in the area of fresh food, and I thought this would be a good way to go. But if anybody would have asked me at that time, well, how do you do that? I wouldn't have known. It was you that came along and helped all of us learn how to, not just to put up a greenhouse, but also how to operate it year round, and also to help the other greenhouses around the city as well. I think somebody would be surprised if they came to the food bank at the moment. They would look in the back of the food bank and they would see all of these gardens that we have, these raised beds and stuff. And then beside that is the greenhouse, which is primarily your job, right? And if you could look at it from up above, you would see that it's roughly the same size as the food bank itself, the building. You know, we put so much commitment towards the fresh food thing. And now 55% of the food that the food bank gives out is fresh. You know, that's an amazing thing. You have helped us to get to that total, Luis, but it's obviously the way of the future. And I hope you know that you're now a full-time employee at the food bank, which I think is awesome. You're a real brain trust for us. But I hope you really see for yourself, you have a real future in this for yourself, Luis, because a lot of us have a lot to learn about greenhouses, how they work in a winter climate, those kind of things. And I hope you find meaning in that for yourself.
This is an opportunity that immense tons to me really, like because it's the easiest thing for me would be really to go to this big greenhouse there in Hamilton or around the area really, and start working again in the same thing that I already did. But like I said, I was looking for an opportunity to do it in the urban agriculture world, because I can see something there that I have enough to really make a change in what we're seeing, and with my background, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's going to happen for the food bank too. Thank you, Luis. You've just been one of the main things that's happened to us, and we're really thankful for you. And you become a real community treasure. And we look forward to working you over the coming years. Thanks, Luis.
Thank you for the opportunity again. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye-bye.